Check, check, test. Hello, hello. Do we have audio? Looks like I have video. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is this a bad Verizon commercial? Looks like I have video. Can you hear me now? Well, sounds like you can hear me. Good evening. Found your water leak. Excellent, Larry. Looks like there's about 16 to 20 seconds of latency here. So, yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear you found your water leak. It's the hot water line that runs to the bathroom sink. What's the best way to replace that hard line? It looks like part of your comment got cut off, Larry. All I saw was with Presto. I think what I might do is I would probably use PEX and get rid of that hard line. Was it cracked? Had it frozen or something like that? So we'll just hang around here for a bit, kind of let a few more people get in. I know this is a day late and a dollar short, but I don't know what happened last night. But I couldn't get online, couldn't get my phone to connect, and from the internet here at my pop's house, I wasn't able to get online either. So I'm not exactly sure what was going on, but yeah, I could not get on last night. So apologize for that. I sure tried for about 20 minutes, and I couldn't get online to even say I couldn't get online. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. That's for sure. Cold Michigan. Hi, Julie. Um, yeah, cold. Okay. Well, as I mentioned in my comment to Larry, when he first checked in, it finally cooled off here last week. Got down to, well, I guess it was in the 60s on Monday, which was a nice change. It hasn't been quite as humid either. But when I got here, it was pretty warm. It's currently about 82 out there right now. And it looks like we just hit 7 o'clock. Hi, Tim. Great to have you in. I read what you meant. Yeah, interesting week in Ohio. Gary Boyd. Oh gosh, it's a day later and I've not shaved. Rip Van Gary. Yeah. Um, I'm fortunate that this camera doesn't pick up my 4-day beard. So hope everybody had a great week and a day. And I hope to be back on the normal schedule next Monday or next Tuesday. I'm kind of tired. I've been busy working around the house here, trying to help my dad out. He's still in the rehab hospital, getting his range of motion back and getting to where he can get up and move around. Hoping that goes well for him. I've been going over there every day up until today. Then I cut back to every other day because I don't know if I kind of got myself kind of cleaned up, but I got paint all over me. I've been doing a little painting for him. So um, I had a couple of questions come in this week that I'll get to here in a bit as soon as we get a few more people online. And um, so, yeah. But yeah, I've been painting and just kind of helping clean up the house a little bit, taking care of a few maintenance things, mowing lawns and weed eating and those sorts of things. So, it's sort of like being at home, except it's hot and muggy instead of just hot. It was 92 today at my house in Idaho. I do have remote weather, and I also have webcams and that kind of stuff up around the yard, so I can kind of keep an eye on the place. Holy smokes! Tim Myers says that he was showing the motorhome he's selling, and he smelled gas fumes. Found out that a squirrel had chewed through the gas line. Just finished up changing it out. What a pain in the butt! Yeah, I tell you, some of these jobs that you do on these RVs, man, they sure are. They sure are huge pain. lots of work. Um, so yeah, it can take all day to do what you would think. Inevitably, you think it's going to be an hour job, and it turns into 4. If you're not running to get tools, you're running to get parts. So, how's the stream quality? Is it breaking up at all, or are we pretty solid? I can see that the audio sounds pretty good. Let me just do a real quick check here to get parts. Yeah, so there it is. It sounds like it's okay. I have to mute it um, to so you don't have feedback, even though there is a bit of latency in the stream. Okay, thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Yes, surprised you like the taste of gas. I'm surprised you don't have metal gas lines in that thing. Thanks, Tim. You didn't have steel or metal uh, propane line in that thing? That's weird. I thought by code um, they had to have metal uh, gas pipe for the propane. Hello, Jason Mills from Soledad. Nylon. Oh, okay. Well, I suppose that's true. I do know that they do use some nylon um, in some cases, but wow, a squirrel chewed through it, huh? Yeah, it's lucky you found that. But yeah, that's wild. Nylon. Did they have the, oh, gasoline? Oh, okay, okay, okay. I was thinking you were talking about LP, uh, propane. So yeah, got it. Oh wow, okay. So nylon, that makes sense. Yeah, that sort of makes sense. So yeah, if you're new and just coming into the chat here, be sure and just drop a comment over in the chat window and let me know where you're watching from. Jennings Fisher watching from North Carolina. Hello, Jennings, and welcome. Glad to have you in here tonight. I did have one kind of interesting comment come in. Um, I generally take all comments, for what they're worth. And I had I guess, a troll, whatever you want to call them. I don't get very many trolls on the channel, but I had this comment. I won't say the guy's name, but let me get over here and see if I can find it here real quick because I thought it was kind of funny. This commenter says, "Cut the BS, personal views, and get to the subject. My time is valuable. If I want to watch a clown in a circus, I'd Google that, so 5 thumbs down." Okay, so why did you even bother to watch the video? If it's 27-minute video and your time's valuable, go watch another video. Go do something else. Anyway, I commented back tersely and kind of just said, that's well, I won't say what I said because it was cloaked in words that um, never mind. We'll just leave it at that. Jason reports he's been doing the 20K mile loose bolt and hardware search on my 99 F250 7.3 liter. Vibration keeps me busy. Let's see here. Let's show that, Tim. Yeah, I've heard that. I bought this spring a 96 Ford F250, and it needed a clutch, so I got a really good deal on it. And what I was thinking I was going to do is I was going to do the flip and trade up and flip and trade up and flip and trade up. And so I put a new clutch in it. I actually thought I might do a video on that because I couldn't really find any videos on changing the clutch in an F250. Mine's a gasser. It's a 351. It's also a two-wheel drive. And so I got it all tuned up, and then I buffed it out. It was looking really sad, really oxidized. As best I can figure, it came out of Utah uh, and Brigham City, Utah, And from the looks of it, and from what I could tell, it must have sat outside. It probably belonged to somebody's dad, and he probably passed away, and they didn't know what to do with it. And so it sat outside, and it just got oxidized, and it looked like the sprinklers had been running on it because it was full of hard water spots and all that. And so I buffed it all out, and I thought, well, I'll see if I can sell it. So I put it out and put a sign in the back window, and I sold it in 2 days. Um, so I'm going to be looking for a little bit newer Ford, or GM. I've owned Fords, I've owned GMs. You know, Fords and Chevys. What are you going to do? So, but I like them both. Let's see. Yeah, Tim, exactly. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Uh, Larry McBride reports. It's been. Oh, he's talking about he. I guess it was a couple weeks ago. He mentioned that he had a water leak and that he had been searching for it. And he said he found it. It was in the hot water line that goes to the bathroom sink, and it was hard piped. And he said it looked like it had been repaired before and broke. Would a hose and clamps hold? I would think so, because you're only talking, you know, at most 50 psi. And so, yeah, I would think that a hose and hose clamps would probably repair that. I wouldn't, I'd keep an eye on it, but yeah, I would think that would work. And by the way, if you have a question or comment, just make it over there in the chat window, and I'll get to you. I see a couple have come in, and I'll just work through the list. Jennings Fisher, I say that all the time. You just can't fix stupid. Um, hey, from Salt Lake, Kevin Batchelor. Yeah, I'm just in the north of you. Well, I'm not today, because I'm in Arkansas because my father fell and broke his hip, and so I've been out here helping out. But yeah, I'm just to the north of you in Pocatello most of the time. So welcome from Salt Lake. The West is just screaming for water right now. It's so dry out there. I've been keeping up on the news. I watch the news online, kind of, pay attention to what's going on out there. And yeah, it's droughty. It's right. Hopefully, it's going to come back. Okay, did we come back? Are we back? Are we back? Looks like it might be coming back. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. It's still looking a little sketchy, but so are we still here? Okay, so it's a little choppy, but hopefully it'll hold on. If the stream drops, I apologize, but it looks like it came back. I was able to reconnect. So let's get over to the comments here. Oh, Gary Boyd, yeah, GM guy himself, but mid '90s Fords are nice too. I like the styling of them. The newer pickups, they're just so blocky, and I don't know, they look alien. Mary Stankiewicz. When I get my new trailer, should I clean the fresh tank before filling? No, let me say this right now. There's no silly questions, okay? So I answer all questions, and none of them are silly or stupid or anything like that. That's a great question. I would say no, I don't think it's necessary if it's brand new. You might flush it. In other words, I would just fill that tank full of water, and then I would just drain it. And that would be an opportunity for you to figure out where your freshwater tank drain is. But yeah, I would fill that tank up with fresh water and then just drain it. I think that's all you really need to do. Other suggestions, I would recommend that you check out my channel and watch some of the maintenance videos I have on maintaining your holding tanks. Probably well, it is my most popular video is easily get rid of black tank odors. That would help you a lot. Enjoy your travels in your trailer is for a lot longer time. And so I think those are things that might help. Is just watch the maintenance videos. There's a playlist on there called RV How To, And there's tons of videos in that list. I think there's about 50 or 60 in there now. All kinds of different maintenance things that you might find interesting, Mary. And then, of course, you can ask any question here. You're not going to get shamed or anything like that. All questions are valid and very welcome. Yeah, Kevin, Pokey's is a great town. I went to undergrad and grad school there, and I'm originally from north of there, Idaho Falls. Tim Myers reports, experienced my first outing with a horrific storm, ping pong ball sized hail, and 70 mile an hour winds this past week. Check the roof or the journey, and it's all good. Yeah, I was 2 years ago. I was at the Blackfoot Reservoir in southeast Idaho near Soda Springs, and we had a heck of a storm roll through, and we had dime size hail on that one. And I actually shot some video of that, and it's in the video. I think it's called Blackfoot Reservoir. It might be on the road, episode 2 or 3 from 2019. But yeah, yes, okay, jumpy, yeah, okay. That's a little sketchy. I think they're still having trouble here. And then, of course, I'm on DSL. I'm not using my phone tonight. I used my phone last week, and if it's still jumpy, we'll keep an eye on it. And if it still is a little jumpy, I can see that in the stream I'm monitoring that it's a little jumpy. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it holds. Thanks, Gary. Uh, Kevin Batchelor says he tried my gray and black tank treatment, but still struggling. Use borax and Dawn. Okay. Um, it may take 2 or 3 times. Kevin, have you tried the road flush? I think the road flush is probably the most effective for cleaning really badly maintained tanks. So I would try the road flush that I speak of, and you can pick that up out of the video, or there's a cheat sheet over on my website at trbolin.com, and you can pick that up and download it, and it'll give you all the steps to do the road flush, and of course how to flush your tanks and so on and so forth. So you might try that, but it can take 2 or 3 or 4 tries until you get those tanks cleaned up. And once you get them cleaned up, you should be in pretty good shape. Yeah, the road flush. And really what that is that you take and put, a third of a tank of water in your holding tanks. And then in your black tank, you add the borax and the Dawn. And then in your gray tank, you add the borax and the concentrated orange citrus cleaner. Any concentrated degreaser works fine. So the simple purple concentrate, the simple green concentrate, they work well. And then go for a drive. Go for a 30-minute drive. It works really good if you can put that in the tank and then let it set for a while. And that'll help kind of soften things up. And the sloshing and the slushing around of the water in that tank will help scrub it out. And then if it's still smelling, you might try the ice trick. And the ice trick is to get a 20-pound bag of ice. This works for your black tank. It's kind of hard to work this on your gray tank, but it works great on your black tank. Yeah, okay, so this is going to help you. Take that 20-pound bag of ice. Get yourself, 2 or 3 cups of coarse salt, like water softener salt, not the little pellets, but the actual salt grains. Put that in a tank, add a couple, 3 gallons of water in, and then go for a drive. And that'll scrub it around, and that will help scrub out the bottom of that tank because you probably have a poo pyramid. And if when you get that tank cleaned out, you're going to be in a lot better shape. So, but it can take 2 or 3 times, particularly if if the tanks weren't maintained properly. Jennings Fisher says, I'm new to fifth wheels, and the thing that scares me most is dealing with the gray and black tanks. Yeah, once you get them clean, if you're using my system, they won't be a problem at all. Jason Mills reports, random observation, Texas and California have the worst road conditions on their major highways than any places I've been. I have a road that will rival that, and that is 76, I-76 from Denver and goes up into the corner of Nebraska. Every one of those expansion joints, every 40 or 50 feet, whatever it is open. And it's ka-thump, 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 ka-thump for 175 miles. It was just brutal the last time I drove it. Mary Stankiewicz says, yes, I've taken all your advice and made my honey-do list that I'll be doing. From Cleveland, headed to Allegheny National Forest to boondock like we did with tents for years. So much fun. The Allegheny National Forest is just amazing. And I was through Cleveland in 2012. Well, it looks like the dang stream dropped again. Okay, it's back. Sorry about the choppiness here, folks. I don't know if I can. Let me try this trick real quick. Let me see if I can do this and still maintain my mind here. I'm going to, excuse me for just a minute. We're going to try this. We'll see if this will help. I'm going to try to connect through my cell phone and see if I can improve the stream quality here. Yeah, the previous owner lived in it full time, Kevin. Yeah, so you just have some maintenance you need to do on them tanks. Maryland Bocancer Bo Bo can Bo. Sorry, I'm brutalizing your name. That's an interesting one. Bocangera, Bocangra. Hi, I have a 2002 Winnebago diesel. It seems that AC is in the back of the motorhome. It seems not to be cooling during the daytime here in Texas. Can you tell me what I can check? Thank you. Yes, Mary or Marilyn, I have a video on my channel that is around maintaining your air conditioners. And I would recommend that you go look that up and watch it and then go maintain your air conditioners. It's very likely that the cooling coils and everything are really super dirty. And if they're dirty, they just don't work very well, particularly when it gets really warm. I guess it was last year, I ended up having to stay 2 extra months in Tucson because of the coronavirus, and there was no place to go. And I was having the same problem, and so I got up and I cleaned my air conditioning units. It's actually really simple. I will mention that since you have an older rig, there's a couple things that I'll point out. Um, be careful with the fairings, okay? Be careful with the fairings. That's the plastic cover. Sitting in the sun for years, they tend to get really brittle, and so when you take them off, you want to be really careful because they'll break really easily. Now they're easily replaced. I actually had to replace both of mine in 2016. But yeah, I would try that. So it's still really jumpy. I'm going to try something here real quick, folks. Let me see if I can do this without completely killing the stream. No, it's not going to work. Okay, so I'll just have to live with it, and I'll know that next time I won't depend upon this sketchy connection. Although YouTube says it's excellent, I can see that it's jumping and choppy. So I appreciate that, or I apologize for that. So that's what I would do, Marilyn, is I would try to clean your AC units, and that should help. Then the other thing is that to help keep your rig cool, you can get some Reflectix, and I used that when I was in Tucson as well. And I put Reflectix in my excuse me, in my windows. Time for a little drink of tea here to help keep the reflected energy out. It's very effective, and even on the hottest 105-degree days, I was able to keep my RV at 82 degrees. So, um, I hope that helps, Marilyn. Kevin says, "Oh, that really makes sense." Yeah, very likely, Kevin, you have the poo pyramid, and that can be really hard to get rid of. It just takes lots of soaking. Jennings, yeah, the road flush works amazingly well. Again, you can pick up the instructions over on my website at trbolin.com. bio, bio dash geo, geo dash method, method. That way you can just drop right over to it. And yeah, that road flush is really good. Gary, you're more than welcome to differ from my opinion. This I also have a video on my channel about how to sterilize your tanks. Well, quote, not sterilize, sanitize. I had a very lengthy argument via YouTube with a fellow. It was right after I posted that video, which would have been a couple months ago, on how to sanitize your freshwater tanks. There is a subtle difference in those two words, sanitize and sterilize. Sanitize, you use a lot less chlorine bleach, and sterilize, you use a lot more chlorine bleach. The problem with using more chlorine bleach is it takes longer to flush the system out. So, yeah, you're more than welcome to check out that video. And also, there is a corresponding article on my website around that. Yeah, Gary, you're right. It is really easy to do. And yeah, there's a video on my channel and instructions over on my website that you're more than welcome to pick up. And it's really easy to follow. Yeah, and that works good too. Adding some vinegar in the last rinse helps remove the bleach smell. Hi, Randy Waller from Des Moines. Uh, Randy's an HVAC guy. He's been a longtime viewer of the channel and a regular commenter, and feels like a friend of mine because we talk quite a bit. And yeah, so he's just got in, and he's been working on air conditioners for a month now. It is hot. It is very hot. Marilyn, you're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Happy to try to help. Again, folks, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the chat window over there, and I'll try to answer your questions if I can. And if I can't, then I'll look it up and I'll get you an answer. You'll have to tune in next week for that answer. But yeah, so happy to answer your questions. For those that are just coming in and the regular viewers, I'm in Arkansas, not in Idaho right now. And because my dad fell, well, it's almost, well, a week and a half ago now, and broke his hip. And he's doing fine. He's at rehab, trying to get his range of motion back so he can get moving around. Kevin, that is so kind of you. Thank you very much for that super chat. You know, gosh, all I can say is thank you. I appreciate that so much. You can't even imagine. So thank you. Tim from Winder, Georgia. Welcome. And a question. He has a hot water tank that runs off propane. Okay. It starts off running really well with the gas, but then the gas starts slowing down and almost goes out, and it fluctuates. Tim, can usually there is an inspection port where you can monitor the quality of the flame, and you want to start it up and look down that inspection port. And if it's a nice bright blue, then you're in good shape. But if it's yellow, then you've got dirt in that system, probably a dirty gas jet or something like that. Also, since you're in Georgia, you could have some moisture in your propane tank, um, and or you could have some rust in the lines, and that could be blocking the gas flow. Um, my recommendation would be to check the quality of that flame, and if it's a bright blue, you're in good shape. If it's a yellow, then you probably want to have it serviced. And unless, now, in most cases, I tell people that you can probably fix it yourself. When it comes to the gas systems, when it comes to the LP systems, the propane, I really do recommend that you go to a qualified propane certified repairman. Um, and that because if you make a mistake with gas, it can be critical. It can be bad. In fact, let me see here. Hang on here. This is something. This is something you don't want to see. This is in the local paper today. I'll see if you can see this, but that's an RV that's on fire, and that's a bad day right there. That is a bad day right there. Good point, Randy. Yeah, pressure regulator is something that you could check, and you may have to replace that, and that's something you could do yourself. But that pressure regulator is something that can cause that fluctuation and that sort of stuff. So I'm glad you're here, Randy. You reminded me that is a possibility. Um, Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. Jason, rear storage rack has a 250-pound capacity. Is that due to rack or chassis capacity capability? Is the rear rack on the roof or is it on the bumper? Jason, Larry asks, following up on his water line. Just one more question about this, then I'll shut up. Yeah, you don't have to do that, Larry. Do I think a piece of garden hose will work or any rubber type hose? The thing runs under the tub. I wouldn't use garden hose because it's hot water and that rubber can get into the water and it will eventually fail. Um, if I was going to use a rubber hose, well, I don't know. I don't like to use rubber hoses in my potable water system because they can leach out stuff and make your water taste bad, make it smell bad. So I would run into Harris and pick yourself up a piece of PEX. It's fairly inexpensive. It's only a couple bucks for an 8-foot stick, and get some fittings, and that way you would never have to fix it again. But yeah, I wouldn't use a rubber hose or a garden hose in my potable drinking water system, especially on the hot water line, because it's going to leach the chemicals out of the rubber, and you probably don't drink hot water out of the tap. But yeah, I don't know if I would use a water hose. Um, Looks like we got a few people in tonight. Again, I apologize if you're just joining. Normally, I do these on Tuesday nights, but for whatever reason, last night I couldn't get online to save my soul. Couldn't connect with my phone. Couldn't connect through the DSL line here at my pop's house, and I just had to throw. I couldn't even get online. I couldn't even make a phone call actually, and I tried to call a friend of mine to have him get into the stream and just put a note on that says, internet's not cooperating tonight. But I couldn't even do that. So something was out of whack. Larry, I know you're in this area. Was your phone out last night or internet? Gary Boyd comments back, yeah, certified repairman is best. I would never ever take a small needle to the kind that comes with the new shirt and clear the orifice. Yeah. Yeah, that I recommend that on your gas systems that you have a certified repairman work on them, and um, I think that's the best. So it's a bumper. Um, Jason, I suspect that it's probably has to do with the fact that the way those are put together, and if it's on the bumper, that the bolts and the bumper and the where it's connected to the frame isn't probably rated for much more weight. And you got to keep in mind, when you're going down the road and you hit a bump, if you got 250 pounds sitting on that, you hit a good enough bump, that's 1,000 pounds pushing down on that bumper by the time you get it moving. And that's probably why they have a 250-pound weight limit on that rack. Um, and also, it could bend the rack and it could bend the bumper. So that's probably why. Um, Remind me what your rig is. I just don't recall right off the top of my head. Hope Bus. Oh, well, thank you. Very kind comment. You're such a stand up, honest, helpful guy. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Well, thank you for your very kind comment. I do greatly appreciate that. And This is really designed not only for old gray guys like me and Larry and Gary and Randy and those of us that have been RVing a while, but it's really designed for the newbies to come in and ask questions and to not be afraid to ask, a dumb question, because there aren't any dumb questions. If you're new to RVing, I've been doing this for 40 plus years and I've made all those mistakes. And one of my favorite sayings is that some mistakes are cost more than others. It costs more to learn a lesson than other. I'm just trying to help you out here. So if you have questions, again, don't hesitate to ask at all. Total rock star moment. Thanks, E squared. You know, for those of you that have watched the stream in the past or have maybe heard me ramble on, um, but I was in broadcasting for years. I was a DJ and worked in operations. Basically, I was responsible for running the radio stations, the technical side of it. And I used to ask the question all the time because TR is obviously not my name, even though my parents even call me that now because it's stuck with me for years. But yeah, I used to have contests and I used to get all kinds of interesting meaning for the letters TR. Some of them aren't acceptable for public consumption. Totally radical. Total rock star. That's a good one. I don't remember if that one ever came up. I did get a haircut, and no, my dad didn't make me. I just decided it was time to get a haircut, and I also trimmed my beard. If you're that observant, yeah, I did get a haircut. In fact, I got them all cut. That's an old joke. But oh, that's right. 2021 Heartland Trail Runner 34. My guess is that yeah, they probably have limited that rack because they're probably concerned again, like I said about it's called the moment of inertia. I think that's what it's called. I have to go back and look it up in my old physics book. But when you're going down the road and you got a bunch of weight on that and you hit a bump, that if it's 2 G's, okay, that's 2 times the force of gravity. So that's 500 pounds pushing down on that bumper. And that can tear the bumper bolts out where it bolts to the frame. It could bend that bumper. So that's probably why it is. You could probably reinforce that by putting some heavier plates on the back of where the bolts go through the frame on the bumpers. Then you could get like some 1/4 inch plate, make that fairly long, and then bolt through that, and then weld around the perimeter of that, or have somebody weld it for you, and that would beef that up a little bit, so maybe you could carry some more weight. Yeah, okay, thanks, Larry. I asked Larry about the internet because he's near here. He's probably 40 minutes from where I'm at right now here in Northwest Arkansas. Uh, yeah, and it should be more of a discount over time because it's sure falling off my head. Yes, Jason, I used to say that all the time. I had the face made for radio. um, so yeah, yeah, I'll tell you what. Okay, so questions or comments, be sure and leave them in the chat window. I'm more than happy to answer your questions or comments. If you like what you're seeing, give me that thumbs up. I always appreciate those. And if you're not subscribed, be sure and subscribe. Lots of great content on my channel and plenty more to come. We'll be back to normal Tuesday night streams next Tuesday if the creeks don't rise. And since the connection, is it still kind of choppy? It looks to me like it's freezing up a little bit. But if it's still kind of choppy, I'm going to do something different as far as my connectivity next week. And I'll try to connect through my cell phone next week. And then if that's still sketchy, then I'll just and I'll just stream like I did last week off my cell phone. Okay, so Randy says he's going to replace the never cold fridge in his RV. Oh, you have a 12 volt, 9.8 cubic foot on the way. Excellent. That is excellent. Um, yeah, the best, I always say this, and I've done many upgrades on my RV. And some of the best ones were the tankless water heater. Uh, that tankless water heater changed everything. No more Navy showers. You can take as long a shower as you want. If you got water and you got propane, you got a hot shower. And then the second best one was the residential refrigerator. Now I went residential, and it worked great. But those 12-volt fridges work extremely well. I considered one of those. I just couldn't find one big enough because in my RV I had the Norcold 1200, and that's the double door. And I found that the Samsung RF18 fit perfectly into the hole. I didn't have to modify the frame at all. All I had to do was lower the bottom shelf a little bit. And of course, there's a video on my channel about that. In fact, that fridge replacement was the very first RV how-to video I ever did, clear back in 2017. Wow, it seems like just yesterday. Larry says 40 minutes he ain't riding with me, especially on these roads out here. Because I'll tell you what, in Arkansas, you here in northwest Arkansas, there's not a straight road anywhere. They're all ups and down and whoop-de-doos and roundy rounds and around and up and down the hill. And I'm telling you what, you drive a 40-foot RV with a Toad. Now, I don't have the RV here. I just drove my car down. But you drive a 40-foot RV with your Toad, it's a tough, long day if you have to drive very far on these roads. I used to dread it. Um, Randy, Ken Musil, have I ever used a product unique black tank product? Yes, I have. I tried it a while back, and I also know a couple people that have used it, and I convinced them to try the Borax and Dawn, and they quit using it because the Borax and Dawn just it works. I think the unique works, but there's two things: unique from my experience, and then also Happy Camper. And I'm not knocking either one of them because if they work for you, just keep using them. Um, but the Happy Camper doesn't do much to keep your tank level indicators working properly. And I think that's probably the biggest complaint I get. I mean, I get anywhere from 2 to 10 comments a day on my black tank maintenance video, and the main comment is that their holding tank gauges don't work. And in fact, I just got one today from a gal that had commented. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that. Here she says, um, just found your video a couple of weeks ago and tried your recipe with 2 flushes. My holding tank that normally would only read 2/3 full now reads properly. So I think that's probably the biggest complaint I'd have about Happy Camper or maybe Unique or some of the others is that they work well, but they don't keep your tank level indicators working properly. Yeah, that's right, Gary. The Wander Lodge people, in fact, it was uh, um, it was on the Wander Lodge forum that I first discovered the Samsung RF18. Um, okay, Dennis, a coin. Uh, Man, how do I step by step change the anode? Okay, the anode in your water heater is really easy to change. The first thing is, of course, turn it off. Drain the water out. Not necessary to drain the water out, but it's you should. Make sure that it's cooled off, and then get the appropriate size socket for the head on the anode. And if memory serves me correctly, I think it's 3/4. Don't quote me on that. But before you try to take that out, get yourself some PB blaster, and spray some PB blaster around that, and let it soak. Let it soak in. and then carefully just remove that anode. You know, it's going to be a little cruddy and corroded, but just taking back that anode out with a socket, and then flush your water heater out. Take your water hose and stick it in that hole where the anode is, and run it in there and let it flush out. Uh, Run it in there and let it flush out. And you're going to get all kinds of probably calcium and hard water, scale. Sturtivite is really what it is, but hard water scale. And flush it out 3 or 4 times until the water runs clear and there's no more of that scale coming out. Get some Teflon tape, wrap a little Teflon tape around that, and screw it back in. And that's basically all you need to do to do that. So I hope that helped. Phoenix Rising, yes, Borax and Dawn works great. It sure does. And in fact, any dish soap, Palmolive works. During the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, I usually would get my Dawn at Costco. I buy the super economy size, and they were out. You couldn't get it, and I was needing some. And so I ended up going, and they had Palmolive, so I bought some Palmolive, and the Palmolive worked just fine. Absolutely worked great. And I've been told that Joy dish soap works as well. Okay, so Dennis asks, also, what do I open first, and then what do I close and open in order to empty the black and 2 gray tanks? Okay, always empty your black tank first, okay? Then empty your gray tanks. The gray tanks will help flush that hose out, okay? And that gray tank water, although it can be smelly, isn't as nasty as the black tank water. So yeah, always do your black tank first, okay? Then close it, then open your gray tanks, let them drain, and you should be good to go. If you're following the method of flushing the tanks, you want to go ahead and flush that black tank 2 or 3 times, however many times you need to, and then do your gray tanks. But that'll help flush that line out. It'll help flush your sewer hose out and keep it nice and fresh and clean. Questions or comments, of course, make them over in the chat window. I'm happy to answer them. And Dennis, I hope that helped you. Ken, thank you very much. Gary, the end load is 1/16 on most tanks. Yeah, on the water heater, I'm almost positive because I changed the anode in mine, and it wasn't that big. I'm thinking it was either 3/4, 11/16, or 7/8, but it wasn't an inch or bigger. It was much smaller, and I'm thinking it was 3/4. Maybe on home water heaters they might be a little larger, but on the RV water tanks or hot water heaters, I believe a 3/4 was what it took. But it wasn't an inch. It wasn't that big. Okay, Todd, from last week with generator that wouldn't restart once warm. The aluminum foil wrap on the fuel line worked. Excellent. Todd was commenting last week that, excuse me for just a minute, I got a throat in my frog, that his generator would start and run cold, but when he tried to restart it when it was warm, it wouldn't work. And so we determined it was probably vapor locking and suggested a few things that he could try to stop the vapor locking. And it sounds like he wrapped aluminum foil on the fuel line. It worked. Thanks so much for all that replied with the ideas for saving me a repair bill. That's why we're here, Todd. That's TGHGM. But yeah, that's why we're here, Todd. And I'm glad that you came back and let us know that it worked for you. That's excellent. So happy to hear that. Scooter trash. Want to put a bike rack on the back of my camper. What are your thoughts on a bolt-on receiver? So I'm assuming you're talking about a mountain bike and not a Harley Davidson. I had a I had a four-place bike rack on the back of mine, and what I did was I got one of those uh, special receiver hitch, and so all it is there's a straight through, but then it has a welded on piece with a 2-inch tube on it that you can put your bike rack in, and it worked perfectly. I never had any trouble with it at all. So as long as there's a receiver on your bumper or on the back, that's fine. But yeah, if you're trying to do a motorcycle or something heavier, um, it would depend on your rig and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, and Todd reports back too. Yeah, and yes, Borax and Dawn did wonders for my gauges and odors as well on my first try. Thanks. You're very welcome. Yeah, uh, very happy to hear that. You're very welcome, Dennis. You are very welcome. Uh, Coming up on 8:50 Central Time. We're going to be wrapping her up here in a minute, but if there's other questions or comments that people would like to make, you want to tease me about being bald, that's fine. I've got thick skin and thinning hair. Also, if you're just new into the chat window, if nothing else, just drop us a note over in the chat and let us know where you're watching from. That's always fun. We had a fellow in from England last week. I think it was last week. It might have been 2 weeks ago. You know how time kind of mushes together. Yeah, and no, no Flex Seal. No. Get yourself some Henry's Tropicool or Henry's Bright Tech rubber roof coating. Don't use Flex Seal. That it's the reason I say don't use the Flex Seal is because that roof is going to get a lot of UV light on it, and UV breaks that Flex Seal down in short order. So yeah, don't use the Flex Seal. Go with the Henry's Tropicool or the Henry's. I think it's called Bright Tech, but it's a roll-on rubber roof coating. It's like $30 a gallon, and it's definitely worth the money. I would highly recommend that you do that versus the Flex Seal. Oh, Dennis, you're in Magnolia, Texas. Beautiful country down there. Okay, there you go. Atwood 7/8, Suburban 1 and 16th, and I have an Atwood, so there you go. Chris Milucci, have a question. Is it illegal to leave my propane on while I am towing my travel trailer? I am thinking of getting the gas top to put on my tank in case I break a line during traveling. Um, no, it is not illegal. They recommend, I think it's best practice on a travel trailer to turn the propane off when you're towing, but it is not illegal to tow with the propane turned on. And in fact, I remember, oh gosh, this has been, well, right after I bought my RV in, well, this edition of my RV life, my 2004 Newmar Dutch Star. And I was reading the owner's manual, and in the owner's manual, they said to turn off the um, propane while you're driving down the road. Well, nobody does that. So, however, if you're going through what's that tunnel out there in Virginia Beach, they're really strict about that. They don't want you going through the tunnel with your propane turned on. I can't remember the name of that big tunnel that goes underneath the bay out there, but that's over there in Virginia Beach. I've been through there a couple times. Uh, okay, Phoenix. No, I am drinking Arizona green tea with ginseng and honey. It's my favorite. It's 347 to 12 pack, so it's good and cheap. Okay, yeah, you're very welcome, Phoenix Rising. He says thanks. Yeah, not happy with blackjack. Todd, TGHGM. If I use seafoam in a separate gas tank to run through Jenny after a trip or before the winter season, do I still need to start the Jenny every month? No. Seafoam works also. Yeah, fuel stabilizer. I'm not sure if is seafoam considered a fuel stabilizer, uh, but yeah, you shouldn't have to start it every month in the winter. Larry McBride. Hey, I'm gonna steal that and remember it. The good Lord only made a few perfect heads. The rest he put hair on. That's hilarious. Ken Musel. All from Greeley, Colorado. In between trips now. Just got back from Branson, Missouri. I'm about 30 minutes from Branson, Missouri. Well, maybe 40. And probably an hour if you drive like Larry McBride. I've just got to tease everybody a little bit. Larry's near here too. I think he's 40 minutes from here, but he says he's further. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate you. Have a great night, and you're very welcome. Hope to see you next week, Mary. G. Daves. I drank Sprite for many years. Recently switched to Twist Up, Walmart brand, half the price and just as yummy. Yeah, I don't drink soda pop anymore. I quit drinking soda a long, long time ago. It was giving me heartburn, and I quit drinking beer too for the same reason. Um, so now I drink nondescript beverages. Chesapeake Bridge Tunnel. Yeah, Bay Bridge Tunnel. Exactly. Thanks, you guys. That's the one out there. Oh, Jason Mills, thank you so much. Uh, you're so kind and generous. I really do greatly appreciate the love and the super chats tonight. That's just it's thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough. Um, oh, Gary Boyd says if you ride the ferry out here, they are very strict. No propane on, no way. Can't say I blame them. Yeah, the fire in tunnels is bad. And yeah, Jason, exactly right. Most people leave the propane on to keep their refrigerator going. That's why we have, dual fuels. Chris comments, okay, the gas stop valves stop 100% of the propane if you break a line. That's a good point. Yes. Um, they're required, I think, in Cali. I don't, in California, they require the gas, what they call earthquake valves. And in fact, if you have a propane appliance in the basement of your home, like I did, I used to have a propane appliance. Then you had to have earthquake valve or gas shut off. So if they smell gas at all, they shut the propane off immediately. You're very welcome, Chris. Happy to help. Larry says he's 25 minutes north of Harrison, 40 minutes south of Branson. Okay. So maybe it is a few more than 40 minutes. Gary, um, you're dead on, man. If in honor of all my Canadian viewers, yes, there is a 7 on there. Actually, I prefer VO, but they didn't have it at the package I stopped at last week, so I had to get my second choice. Thank you, G. Davis, for the super chat. A lot of love here, and I do really greatly appreciate you so much you don't even know. So we'll go last round. It looks like folks are starting to drop off. It's getting close to 9 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. And so any last questions or comments? Looks like we're still freezing up. Yeah, they sure do. Um, just a quick question: has the stream been freezing up? It looks to me like it's freezing up a bit. Um, but I'm curious about on your end, on the other end, if the stream is freezing up, if it's choppy, if the audio quality has been okay, or does the audio drop out too? Just trying to decide if I'm going to go with a different solution. And in fact, if you guys will bear with me for just 1 minute, I am going to try something here. No, it turned off. Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Ken. Thank you, G. Davis. It sounds like probably what it is that because the dirty little secret is I'm sending and receiving on the same line. And so I'm probably seeing a latency in what I'm viewing, but you're getting it just fine. So that's what we want to see. Okay. The little bit audio, very good. Which carries you? Thank you. On spots it freezes. Good to know. Froze a couple times. Not long enough though. Okay. Audio is most important. Totally agree. Julie Gage continuously. Okay. Sound and it looks good. Okay, good. Video choppy. Random chop, but not bad. Okay. Thank you so much. I am gonna try one little thing here. Let me see if we can just totally kill this. If I drop the stream, then I will catch you all next week. But let's try this real quick. Um, if I can get there before I bore everybody to death. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick on my Wi-Fi on my phone here, and I'm going to see if I can swap over to that midstream. It may drop the stream. Hi, Sue Kelly. Nice to have you in. Okay, here goes nothing. Just a minute here. Okay. All right, so if I drop the stream, thanks everybody. I do appreciate it. Oh, wow, it did that and I didn't completely lose the stream? Well, maybe. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. Oh, it's all right. Well, I'm amazed at the resiliency of OBS, the streaming tools that I use. So that's great. Like streaming on Prodigy. Dan, you're old. Don't drop us, it might hurt. Gary, I'm pretty sure you've been dropped too many times already. Oh, that's cruel. I might need a new hip. G. Davis, thank you. Thank you. Made it back like a cat with 9 lives. Yes, I'm late and buffing, so I go watch the video. Okay, Sue. Super. All right. Well, that experiment worked out great, and I think if there are no other questions, I'm going to say thank you very much. So, last call for questions or comments. Otherwise, hope to see you all next Tuesday. And that'll have to do her. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, get some dinner and relax. Well, 4 a.m. is really early, yes, for sure. Okay, great. Thanks, Randy. Happy to have you in. Gary Boyd, thank you, sir. Great to have you in as well. Julie, appreciate you. Try to stay warm up there in Michigan. Sure as heck isn't quartzite, is it? All right, folks. Thanks, everybody, so much. I surely appreciate you, and I hope you found value in this video. If you did, give me that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I do invite you to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Visit my website over at trbullen.com for lots of great information. And until we get together next week, peace. Bye.